The Cubs send down Matt Shaw and followed up with a dramatic extra innings win in San Diego. We got a lot to talk about.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Sam Olburn. I'm a lifelong fan, taking my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is listen every day, like the video, and give us a comment below. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. We will be discussing, of course, the dramatic extra inning win on Tuesday night in San Diego. We're going to update the bullpen situation because it's been a very, very unique 24 hours with those guys down there. But I wanted to start the program today and talk about Matt Shaw getting sent down. I do think that despite all of that, the biggest story of the day is Matt Shaw getting sent down to AAA. And let me first be the person to tell you that I was and still am very high on what Matt Shaw can do. And getting sent down is not a career-ending thing. I mean, Kyle Tucker had it happen to him. I mean, we've seen it all across the league. Guys get sent down, come back up. Javi Baez did that, ended up having an MVP caliber season for the Cubs at one point. Schwarber got sent back down. Happ got sent back down. I mean, just you look within the Cubs' own locker room, it's something that happened. But I want to say that, on this Tuesday night solo, I like to plan out some segments because I don't have Matt here to steer me. And a segment that I had planned out really since about Sunday, to be honest with you guys, was going to be, is it time to start thinking about sending Matt Shaw down? It just felt like the at-bats were so, I don't think uncompetitive is the right word, because he was taking his walks and, he was striking out a lot, but it was the lack of hard contact. I have the Savant numbers in front of me, and of course it's an early sample size, but expected slug 256, average exit velocity 82.7. That's in the second percentile in the big leagues. Hard hit percentage 5th percentile, bat speed 10th percentile, squared up percentage 21st. I mean, he has truly been, and I it pains me to say this because I really love this kid, one of the worst everyday players early in the season in baseball. And to be honest with you, the Cubs, at least offensively, the Cubs sending him down early on, because it's only been now 20 games, I think is a signal from the Cubs to let you know how serious they are taking this season, because I don't think they would have done that if this was a year that they didn't have division championship expectations. And, when you went into the year with Matt Shaw, I said it many times on the show, the pressure wasn't as, by the way, have my ginger ale here after another very dramatic game. It's starting to take its toll, and it's April 15th. Anyway, he didn't have a lot of expectations because look at the production or lack thereof that the Cubs got from third base last year. Christopher Morel was hitting in the high 100s. Isaac Paredes hitting the low 200s when he was here. So if Matt Shaw was just average, that was going to be a big upgrade for the Cubs. And then early in the year, he flashed some tremendous speed, and I was really excited. And I want to emphasize, I'm not giving up on this kid, nor should you. This happens, and it happens a lot more than you think. Like I said, and it happened to the best player on this team when he was first coming up. But it's been really bad. And you look at the numbers in totality, and it's been worse. It's been worse than what they got last year, believe it or not. And that's not okay. That's not okay. The defense has been pretty good. The base running's good, but you got a guy batting 172, slugging 241, and unlike PCA, and this is what I was trying to communicate early in the year. Both guys had similar numbers for a while, but if you really were watching the ball games, it was clear that PCA's process and his hard hit stuff, it looked like he was productive and it was going to come. Matt Shaw really showed no signs. Maybe that Saturday game Matt and I were against the Padres against Pavetta, he hit a couple baseballs hard, but a lot of his hits have been infield hits, and it just felt like the right move from the Cubs. I give him credit for doing it. And now we get to find out what I think I already know about Matt Shaw, about his character, and to see what he could do, and to see if he could, bounce back from this. I expect we will see him again, hopefully by the summertime. And the Cubs clearly thought highly of Matt Shaw too, because don't forget, in Japan, and I know Nico was out, Matt Shaw was hitting fifth, man. Like, they thought really highly of this kid and his bat, just like I did, and it just hasn't worked out so far. So, we wish Matt Shaw the best. I really want to see him here. Now we have to discuss what now for the Cubs at third base. And I think you're going to see some sort of Gage Workman, John Birdie-ish platoon right now, which I know probably doesn't get you overly excited. Maybe a little bit of Justin Turner over there, depending on the matchup. Gage Workman's looked a little bit better lately. He got a hit off a non-pitcher today for the first time in his big league career. Great opportunity for him. Cubs have faced some really tough pitchers lately. Like, once we could get through this stretch, it'd be nice. I like to see Gage get a long run against just some regular righties, like today against Vasquez. Like, he didn't look overmatched against Vasquez, who's just kind of a run-of-the-mill right-handed pitcher. I'm comfortable with John Birdie over there as well with his defense. I'd like to see Birdie start doing a little bit more at the bat. He came up Tuesday night in a big spot and didn't get the job done. He's on this team to kind of work some at bats, use his speed, make contact, get some base hits, and play good defense. But I want to see him do that offensively. He's going to get a long run here. Ultimately, this is supposed to be Matt Shaw's job, and the Cubs want it to be Matt Shaw's job. Once they offered Alex Bregman and that didn't work out, it was Matt Shaw's job to lose, and he lost it. So now that becomes a position of weakness for the Cubs, at least on paper. But we'll see what happens with John Birdie. We'll see what happens with Gage Workman, and see, if the Cubs want to add elsewhere, or see what happens with Justin Turner. I think it would be really nice to get Seiya Suzuki back in the lineup as soon as Wednesday afternoon, because those guys and their lack of ability stand out a lot more when your second best hitter and your three hitter isn't playing every day. This lineup without Seiya, and then get Carson Kelly back as well, and go from there. But I was not surprised by the news today. I wish Matt Shaw the best. I will go back to doing my Matt Shaw watch, which I was hoping I wouldn't do this year, which is what, keeping track of all his AAA ABs and see if he could just start getting into baseballs. I think the key for Matt Shaw, and I'm sure he was told this at AAA, I don't really care about the walks or strikeouts. Start hitting some balls hard again. Get into driving baseballs to right center, driving baseballs out of the yard. And if I'm Matt Shaw, I want to be back in Wrigley by the summer months and show this fan base and show this team exactly what I can do, because I still believe in that young man. And I give the Cubs credit for getting out ahead of this, because it did feel like it was coming soon. And, unfortunate. It's part of it, was always part of the possibilities. I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say I did not see it coming. I thought his floor would be higher than this. But just the contact quality is ultimately what it came down to for Matt Shaw. The Cubs' first game without Matt Shaw was a doozy. A lot happened. They found a way to win a baseball game, and we're going to talk about that coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You could even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more, for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. For Tuesday night, I selected Kyle Tucker over 0.5 home runs and PCA over 0.5 stolen bases. And I did not succeed. I believe Kyle Tucker had a stolen base, but that didn't count. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run it back, because I just think if I do that enough, PCA is going to get on base. He'll steal a bag. And Kyle Tucker hasn't homered in a little while, so he's due for a home run. And if both those cash, I'm going to win a good amount of money. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Prize Picks. Run your game. We are back here on Locked On Cubs, getting ready to discuss a wild victory in San Diego on Tuesday night. This game, if you want to play the scorecard, let's do it. Here is the first game of the year I believe the Cubs really stole. You could make the case they stole Sunday just based on the matchup against the Dodgers, but they played well. Cubs, I thought, deserved to win that game. They did not probably deserve to win on Tuesday night's game. It was not a clean performance from the boys in blue. In the fifth inning, Shota Imanaga, I wouldn't say he was cruising along, but he was pitching really well and pitching around trouble. And it looked like he had settled in a little bit in the fifth inning. And nobody on, 2 outs. Manny Machado at the plate hits a pop-up in foul territory. Kyle Tucker needs to make the catch. He flat out dropped it. It looks like, and credit Boog for this, Boog made this observation that I've noticed as well. It looks like Tucker's a little uncomfortable when he gets near an object like a wall, or he gets uncomfortable when somebody's close to him. And I made the joke, I'd be uncomfortable too, because he's one collision away, from costing himself a lot of money. Just another reason, Kyle and Tom, to get that extension going. You'll see Tucker crashing into walls. You'll see him bumping into guys. If he inks that 10-year, 475, he won't worry about who's around him. But Tucker needs to make that catch. Also thought, to be honest, Kyle, if you're watching, I just want to extend you, and you do nothing wrong. But I also thought that Kyle misplayed a ball a little bit off the bat of Iglesias early in the game too. He has pretty high remarks and high standards defensively. So I'm going to say that he probably should have had that one. And then I believe it was 2 pitches later to Manny Machado, pop up right in front of the catcher. I thought it was Amaya's ball. I don't know if he didn't see it or didn't track it. Gage Workman comes sprinting into behind the plate. He drops it. 3-4 pitches later, Machado hits a home run, and you just say to yourself, well, it's not our series in San Diego. Later on in that game, Cubs had an opportunity. They got a nice little safety squeeze action that should have been a base hit, by the way, for PCA. They gave Arise an error. It was a bad error. He had no play at home. That should have been a hit. It was 1-1. Had a couple guys on. Birdie didn't get the job done. And then fast forward all the way to the 10th inning. It was a man on third, nobody out after Nico Horner tripled. Shout out to Nico with that beautiful right center swing. Makes me emotional. Man on third, nobody out. PCA, lazy fly out. Nico can't tag. Miguel, uncompetitive strikeout. And John Birdie, uncompetitive strikeout. So you said to yourself, there's just no way the Cubs can win. But lo and behold, what covers up offensive mistakes? What covers up defensive mistakes? High leverage guys that shut the door. And the Cubs had Julian Merriweather come in. Daniel Palencia, too, in the 6th inning, had a nice scoreless inning. But Julian Merriweather came in, looked pretty good. Porter Hodge looked terrific. Ryan Presley. 1, 2, 3. They nickname him Ryan Stressley. I'm going to nickname him the 1, 2, 3 Kid. That's a WWE reference. Ryan Presley with his second consecutive 1, 2, 3 inning. And then in the 10th inning, basically the highest leverage spot you could be in. Up a run, bottom 10, man on second, nobody out. And in comes Caleb Thielbar. And I thought to myself, oh boy, that's probably not going to go well. He faces Connor Joe as a pinch hitter. Cubs killer Connor Joe was fully expecting a walk-off homer. Struck him out looking. Then he faced another pinch hitter, Elias Diaz, and got a little tapper back to the mound that Thielbar kind of grazed his mid on. And if the contact play was on, the Padres probably would have scored, but they didn't have it on because they had Tatis on deck. And I thought Craig played it masterfully. The tricky part of walking Tatis there is you're very afraid of him stealing second base with probably the best singles hitter in the major leagues coming up next in Luis Arraez. So Craig tried to get ahead of Tatis with 2 breaking balls with Thielbar. Both were taken outside or down. It was 2-0. So he walks Tatis, and then you really have to pay close attention to Fernando Tatis. And luckily, Arraez, which he doesn't typically do, swings at the first pitch, hit a pretty soft line drive out to left field, and Ian Happ made the catch, and the Cubs survived to win. But it was a dramatic victory because the Cubs weren't supposed to win it. They didn't play well. Their offense was bad. Their execution with runners in scoring position was bad. Their defense was bad. But today, unlike some other days where everything was good and the bullpen was the reason they lost, today the bullpen was the reason they won. And the good news for the Cubs is that Porter Hodge, Ryan Presley, and Julian Merryweather are all trending in pretty positive directions right now, especially Hodge and Merryweather. The key is going to be now that, and we'll talk about this with the bullpen next, is like, what do you do with the IL? Who's your low leverage guys, et cetera, et cetera. But it was a very good performance today by those guys. We're going to talk about the bullpen as a whole in the third segment, and just all the injuries and the send downs and options and stuff. But they won the game. But I also just want to give another special shout out. I know this is number 2 for me doing this, but man, Nico Hoerner. Yeah, I really hope you guys start understanding. You know what? I shouldn't say that. You guys all understand. I hope that Boog and some of the analytical guys just continue to put more emphasis on just clutch hitting, man. I don't care that Nico Hoerner's slugging .391. It means nothing to me. That at bat, he got ahead 2-0 and just went right to right center field for that triple. He has been money in the bank with runners in scoring position, especially in big spots, 2 outs and whatnot. And that's what this Cubs team needs. I mean, you saw Miguel Amaya, who's off to a tremendous start this year, just totally press in that situation, and Pete has trouble left on left. Dansby right now is a mess offensively. Ian is really off offensively. But when Nico Hoerner is getting big hits, this team gets to a different level. You guys know it. I know it. And last year, I don't care what the numbers said, he wasn't that guy. And maybe a lot of it was because he wasn't healthy. And this guy, has been talked a lot about in trade rumors on this very show. And he has delivered a really, really strong start to the season. And I think if Nico Hoerner hits like this, the Cubs are going to be really, really tough because Ian Happ's going to come around. Hopefully Seiya will be back healthy. You're a couple weeks away, maybe a couple days away from another Tucker hot streak. But Nico Hoerner he gives this team exactly what Luis Arraez gives the Padres. The difference is Nico can run and play a great second base. That's why Arraez in that lineup is so tricky. You got boppers like Tatis and Machado and Merrill when Merrill's healthy. And then you sneak in this guy that's probably going to hit 320 with a bunch of singles, but they complement each other. And when guys complement each other, you got guys that get on base. You want guys that do it all, like Kyle Tucker. But there's a reason why Kyle Tucker might get close to $500 million because there's just maybe about 10 guys on planet Earth that could do what Kyle Tucker can do. So the rest of it, you have to piece it together. High power guy, high exit velo guy like Seiya. Hap, that when he's right, he's struggling right now, could do a little bit of everything. And then an average hitter, like a contact, hitting for average hitter like Nico Hoerner, it just makes the lineup go. And it was really nice to see. Shota continues to struggle a little bit this year with the walks, but what a fun guy to watch pitch, man. Pitch himself in and out of trouble a lot. His ERA is 2.22. The Cubs typically win most of the starts that he pitches, and he's just a joy. He's just a joy to watch pitch. So Cubs now 12-8. 12-8, guys. They started out the year 0-2, so they've won 12 of 18 in Arizona, at Sacramento, home San Diego, home Texas, at LA, at San Diego. And they have an opportunity Wednesday afternoon to win. What would that be? 1, 2, 3, their fifth consecutive series, and really just make a statement after everything they've been through. They have a 4. Can you imagine if they come back with a 4-2 road trip? They've already clinched an outstanding road trip, 3-3, considering who they had to play. But if they can go 4-2, that would be really, really something. Coming up next, I want to dive into the leverage spots. I want to talk about the bullpen a little bit in detail and follow up from last night before we move on. And that is coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Game Time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On. And as the Chicago Cubs get ready to host the San Diego Padres April 4th, 5th, and 6th, I can count on them to help grab tickets that meet my needs. I love that I can preview my exact seat before purchasing. No bad surprises when I get to the stadium. You guys know how Wrigley is, Section 200s. Make sure you preview your seat so you don't have one of those seats right behind a pillar. There's nothing worse. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guarantee. We are back here on Locked On Cubs. Before we talk about the bullpen, I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our everydayers. I don't want to say his full name. His name's Anthony H. And he is going through some health stuff right now, and has been. And him and I chat every now and then on Facebook. I like to see how he's doing, and he just is such a strong guy. Very inspiring to me. And Anthony, if you're watching, man, continue to stay strong and do what you do, man. I love watching how you handle these things, and you're an inspiration, man. And I think about you, and I like talking Cubs with you, and I'm glad we got a win for you today. So keep it up and stay strong. I want to talk about some roster moves today that happened. And just talk about the whole pitching situation as a whole. So we already know Matt Shaw got option at AAA. Vidal Brujan was reinstated from the 10-day IL. Eli Morgan placed on the 15-day IL with a right elbow impingement. Luke Little recalled from AAA. Daniel Palencia recalled from AAA. And Nate Pearson option. Did you get all that? These were the right moves. Right move. Obviously, Morgan got hurt in that game. I think he was headed to AAA regardless. Nate Pearson needed to be optioned. He was not competitive in his outings. Bringing up a guy like Palencia, who did a nice job today. He started out a little rocky. With his command, but settled in and took advantage of his stuff. I'm not going to, throw him right in the trust tree after one good outing, but it was better than what we had seen from Pearson. And I'm really into Luke Little. I have been. If you watch the show, he was a guy I told you to really keep an eye on this year. Boyd, Little, these are guys that I really thought were going to have to be integral parts of this team for this pitching staff to work. And Boyd's off to a good start. Now Luke Little's here. I thought for a second Craig was going to give him the 10th just because of how good his stuff is, but it's probably a little bit too much to ask for him just coming in, and it worked out. Thielbar got the job done. I love the idea of having two left-handers at once in the bullpen. It allows you to be aggressive early with a pocket of lefties. If you're in a close game, you didn't get a deep start, and you could be aggressive late. Maybe Ryan Presley hits a little bit of a jam in the 9th, and you have Luke Little available, and you're facing, I don't know, Corbin Carroll or something this weekend, and you say, hey, go get him, Lukey. Go get him. So I'm excited for that. And I just think that the Cubs, unfortunately, and I made my point pretty clear because of their lack of ability to execute. Some of these lower leverage guys have put themselves in a situation where they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks. It's impossible to ignore how good Jason Adam and Jeremiah Estrada look on the other side. But, somebody did point out to me today, well, Porter Hodge looks pretty good. And so you just need one more of those guys. If Luke Little could come out and be the dude I think he could be, because Merriweather, I like Julian. He definitely looks closer to his 2023 self than 2024, but I'm not like, oh, Julian Merriweather should be the closer. And I got to give Ryan Presley a lot of credit because he's bounced back. I'm still not ready to go, oh my gosh, he's got my full trust, but clearly that's his job right now as the ninth. So you have to put him in that high leverage role. So it's like it's Merriweather, it's Presley. I think Hodge is far and away the best guy in the bullpen. You like the flashes that Keller has shown. If you could get one more guy in that Keller tree of like, hey, this guy's got really good stuff. He shows really good flashes. I trust him. I think that could be Luke Little. Maybe it's Palencia. Who knows? Then this bullpen will have a little bit more punch to it. And they're going to need punch to it because, one thing about losing a guy like Justin Steele is, you all talk about hey, we miss Steele. You also miss his innings. When you go from Justin Steele to Colin Ray, when Justin Steele's on, he can go 7. Colin Ray is probably not going 7, in outings. You know what I mean? So you're going to be in a position where you're, what's the phrase I'm looking for? You just need more out of your bullpen. We'll see what happens with Jordan Wicks. Javier Assad and Tyson Miller both made their AAA debuts on Tuesday night. 3 1/3 innings of 1 earned run ball for Assad. Clean inning for Tyson Miller. It's so weird how these relievers are. And hopefully Ryan Brazier is another guy that'll be in the mix, where it's like they look so bad and then they just take some time off, whether it's a phantom IL or it's an actual IL, and they come back and they just look sharp. Right? Like it's almost like they get himself in a funk and they need just a break. And hopefully Tyson Miller, could be the guy that he was last year. That'll give the Cubs a lift. They have bodies. And we've talked about that. Like if Ryan Presley totally, crumbles as a closer, if Porter Hodge has issues, they have depth there. They just need those guys to produce. And when you add in the fact that, ironically, right now, the guys I was worried about at the end of spring training, lesser so Hodge, but more so Presley, those guys have been real steady. We all liked Brad Keller. I think he's pitched a lot better than his ERA says he has. Forget the run he gave up yesterday. That wasn't on him. Merriweather had a really good spring. He's carried that over. So really, it was 2 guys plus Thielbar who gained some respect, of course, Tuesday night with his effort. It was really Morgan and Pearson that were looking like completely uncompetitive. And now both those guys aren't in the bullpen anymore. So hopefully this will be a non-issue or less of an issue here going forward. But I'll say it and I'll say it again. I said it last year. Neris and Alzolay, those are the keys. The keys are Hodge and Presley. If Hodge and Presley continue to ascend, and they're going to have some bad outings here and there, but if they continue to ascend, all will be okay with this bullpen, and they'll be able to get to July before they can make another move. So Cubs will go for a 2 out of 3 series win in San Diego. Tomorrow is a cherry on top of a cake game for me. If they win that game, I'm thrilled. If they lose, unless it's like a crazy loss, I'm not going to be too upset because I did not expect a 3-3 road trip. They've already clinched that. Heck of an effort, though, on Tuesday night from these guys. Shota was really good. Caleb Thielbar, the rest of the bullpen, and Nico Horner, man. If Nico Horner is going to hit 310, 315 this year, it's going to be a really fun summer over on Clark and Addison. Thank you guys so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube. Smash the like button for the algorithm and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Sam Olber, and this was another victorious edition. My watch-alongs aren't going well, but I'm doing pretty well on Tuesdays with the solo show, so maybe that balances out. It was another solo edition of Locked On Cubs. Have a great morning, everybody.